everyone and welcome to a very different video because today I want to be sincere and that's why we are going to use as little editing as possible. I normally don't just ventilate my opinions. Normally we just cover the lore or we cover the news. Well, today we will talk about news, but not in the classic way. Because to me it feels like Riot is going in a very weird direction. And I want this video to also be a message for them. So, what happened? As some of you may be aware, the community of League of Legends is already mad about a couple of things. Eternals didn't quite click with the community. Then they revealed the new Star Guardians, which we will talk about in the next Rift news episode. But let's just say that people are not really amazed by them. The main reason being that there were a lot of other champions that deserve to be Star Guardians. So again, just like it was with some previous skins, it feels a little bit like Riot is aiming for profit. But besides these two things, and especially Eternals, now people got a new thing to be mad about. Because Riot announced their special plans for the unique game modes. And we're not just talking about All Random Earth or Hexakill, we are also talking about the PvE game modes. And those of you who know me know that I love the PvE game modes. And I've been talking about them for ages. I even made a video about this topic many years ago. So this is something I am very passionate about. And that's why we need to talk about this. So, the TLDR version of this entire issue, and trust me, this issue isn't really that complicated so it's not that long, is that Riot just doesn't feel like it is worth developing new game modes. Because they are very quickly scrapped, and they need to be constantly updated to be used every year. So because this upkeep isn't really worth it, because it eats away a lot of resources, for now Riot is discontinuing new unique events. The only thing we can probably expect to be coming back is All Random Earth, Hexakill, and some of the other game modes that can easily be slapped together. But don't expect any Singularity, which was a really good event, the Project Hunting map, which I totally forgot the name of, no Star Guardian, and no Odyssey. So yes, if you've been like me and you've been looking forward to the Star Guardian event this entire year, no, there is nothing waiting for you at the end. The only thing that will be returning are PvP events. If we can call them events. This is a problem for a number of reasons. First of all, from now on I can guarantee you every event will not feel like an event. And we will talk about this in a second. But also, if you remember, at the beginning of this year Riot released a lot of videos talking about their plans for this year. And in that video they said that we can expect some of the older events to come back. Including, and they specifically mentioned, Star Guardian. With that said, they never mentioned the game mode. So by returning events they mean just skins and orbs. Which, let me tell you, people already hate. Orbs stopped being awesome about last year, if not earlier. So as I mentioned, let's talk about the events, because this is my passion. The reason why I said that the future events will not feel like events is because all of the memorable events had always a lot of things to do. So let's talk about the very first event that totally blew everyone away. Let's talk about Bilgewater. This was an event that bloomed with content. It also happened quite a while ago, so I'm sorry if you don't remember it or if you didn't play back then. But the Bilgewater event was memorable because they kicked off with amazing lore. This lore was so good it changed the appearance of Gangplank. Misfortune destroyed his arm and that's why he has a medal replacement. Also, the story mentioned the past of Twisted Fate and Graves. That's why they also got their young skins. On top of that, Misfortune got a skin based on the story. This is what Misfortune actually looks like now. But all of this happened on a brand new map. Before this event we have only had Holding Abyss. But Riot now released a brand new ARAM map, the Butcher's Bridge, which from the graphic side blew everyone away. This map looks absolutely beautiful. But on top of that, Riot also gave us a new game mode. There was a game mode where you could pay mercenaries in the theme of Bilgewater. And because back then we only had Summoner's Rift, Twisted Treeline and Dominion, with ARAM being a relatively new addition, this new game mode was absolutely fun to everyone. So by combining all of these aspects, by which I mean story, skins, new map and new game mode, the Bilgewater event became one of the most, if not the most memorable event of all times. But many years later we got an event that probably beat it. And if this event stayed permanent, I can guarantee you there would be people playing it till this day. And that would be Odyssey. To me, Odyssey was the greatest time I have ever had in the history of League of Legends. I have never had so much fun in this game before or since. And I feel very confident in saying that a lot of you guys also remember the event, because it was packed with content. And content is important, because you know what content isn't? Orbs. If you release an event and all there are missions and orbs, that's not an event. That's just a couple of tick marks to check. But Odyssey was full of content. Things we were looking forward to be actually doing. Not only did Odyssey kick off with amazing skins, an amazing cinematic to tease those skins, but we also got really awesome story that had amazing plot twist and that was bound to a lot of other alternative universes. But we also got the best game mode there ever was. PvE events were already pretty amazing. Star Guardian was a thing I played countless times. But Odyssey improved it because it offered more. Not only was the gameplay totally unique, because you were fighting against AI-controlled enemies, which, just like in Star Guardian, had different abilities, so depending on what you faced you had to change your strategies. But there were also extra objectives. Sometimes there was XP Boy, so everyone focused this guy down so they could gain bonus resources. And those resources made you powerful over the course of the game. Sometimes there was an Augment Boy, and if you saw that guy, everyone needed to focus him, because these guys dropped augments. And augments is where the content actually starts. Not only did Riot release an amazing PvE game mode, but they also gave us progression. By playing as different champions, you would level them up. And by leveling those champions, you would unlock augment slots. And augments is where the fun begins. At the beginning, you started with only one augment. An augment is a passive upgrade to one of your abilities. For example, Yasuo could get the size of his tornadoes increased by 100%. But there were also better augments. For example, the tornadoes would return back to him after he sent them out. Or how about shooting out a tornado per every enemy you hit with your ultimate? And we are not even in the fun part yet. What was fun about this is that you could level up every champion to level 6. And at level 6 you would unlock 6 augment slots. So you could actually combine these 6 super abilities. The result of this was a Yasuo that shot out thousands of tornadoes that were massive and that came back to him after he ulted someone. This was the most fun I have ever had in League of Legends. But we're not done yet. There was a number of champions that you could play. Yasuo, Sona, Jinx, Malphite, Ziggs. And all of them had about 16 different augments. So although you had only 6 slots, there was a lot of fun in combining them and finding the right strategies. And the community could definitely feel that, because as people started experimenting, everyone figured out that Yasuo with giant tornadoes is really powerful. And for a long time, that was pretty much the only way you could beat the final boss. Which, by the way, the final boss was freaking epic. Odyssey Kayn was a badass boss. He had unique abilities that had you to do different things. So for example, if you just stood on one spot and you tried to kill the boss, you would die. Odyssey Kayn turned the entire game into a bullet hell game. And that was fun. But even though everyone was trying Yasuo, later other people on the internet found even better strategies. For example, the infamous healing bomb Ziggs. This was a build where every W also healed Ziggs and shielded him. On top of that, he could get reduced cooldown on it for every target he hit with his bombs. In combination, you could have 5 Ziggses in the corner bombing themselves and kill the boss. This was extremely hard to pull off, because one mistake and you flew off to the side and you just died. But this was a really fun strategy as well. And then there were all the other builds. For example, I love to play Aoe Stun Sona. This was a build where her empowered E didn't slow, but it stunned. And it stunned all targets in 5-yard radius from the target you hit. Together with augments where you get empowered auto attack every other ability. You only spammed Q and E and you stunned everyone. It wasn't OP, but this was a build I created and I loved playing it. On top of all of this, the game mode was really challenging. And we actually put together a special team on stream where we boosted people through the hardest challenge. And this gave us an amazing sense of community. There were people who loved this game mode and they bonded together. A really cool thing on top of this was that if you completed the hardest challenge, you would be able to buy the crew jacket. And yes, I did buy it, because this was my favorite event ever. The other memorable event that everyone remembers is Star Guardian. And guess what? It's because that event had amazing skins, good story, and it had a new unique game mode. That was also PvE. You know what other events you don't remember? This year's project event. You know why? Because there was nothing unique about it. We didn't get a project game mode. You sat down, you played League, and you played League. Nothing happened. And what about Lunar Revel? How many of you remembers those events? Events where you can buy an icon, a ward, and another ward. See, those events are lacking unique things. And I always felt like Riot had the ability to improve on that. But now we learned that they won't improve on that. In fact, they are scrapping all of the good things. Okay, maybe we will still get lore and we will still get skins, but oh my god, I can't stand more orbs. So, where does all of this frustration come from? Well, in all of the posts where Riot talked about this issue, they said that we can pretty much blame TFT. TFT took a lot of resources, and that's why they didn't have time to go for other events. The problem is that the other events were always focused on the League of Legends gameplay. If you are someone who likes League of Legends but who doesn't like TFT, you are screwed. Because the new game modes always altered League of Legends. It was always the same game you already knew how to play, but there was a twist. There was something you needed to change. But because TFT is a totally different game, for someone like you, there is nothing. And here is where things get really weird. Let's say that TFT did take a lot of resources. And let's say that it was a really massive success. Which, let's be honest, TFT is a massive success. Right now I love TFT and I like playing it more than Summoner's Rift. But still, I wonder, where does Riot put their resources now? In other live video games, you have developers that are constantly making entire new worlds. Any other MMO is pulling way more work off their back. So I'm not really sure what's League of Legends doing right now. Again, yes, I understand that TFT took a lot of resources. But there is no way you didn't have enough resources to at least update the old events. See, and this is where we get to the 10th anniversary this year. Because if you didn't know, it's been 10 years since League of Legends was released. So it's obvious that Riot is planning something special. There were already a couple of leaks where Riot said that they are working on a fighting game. Now, fighting isn't really the best genre for me, so I hope they are also working on something else, but the fighting game could be announced this year. See, if Riot is working on a different project, I believe that's where the resources are going. So even though they say that TFT was a big project, I have the hope that they are actually working on something else. And maybe the reason why we won't have any more PvE events is because they are using their team to create other PvE events, possibly in other games. On top of this, the scary thing is that there was a leak where League of Legends was played on a phone. And I'm going to say this right now, Riot, directly to you. If your 10-year anniversary is the announcement of a mobile game, people will eat you alive. We've seen what happened to Diablo. So I really hope you have something big up your sleeve, because people are really looking forward to the 10th anniversary reveal. But back to events. The last thing I want to talk about is what's going to happen to the events now, without any new special game modes, and with Nexus Blitz presumably gone. Even though we will still have rotating game modes, which is nothing but All Random Earth and more versions of All Random Earth, future events are screwed. It feels like there is not going to be any content. You know, things to do. With no game mode, I doubt there will be any possible progression. Unless you wanna buy Eternals, of course. Yes, we can still get some story, but without a new map, that story won't really be bound to gameplay. And that's what Riot's been struggling with for years. Yes, they have amazing lore, but they can't connect it to the game. They had the possibility to craft new maps to bound them to the lore, but that hope is now gone as well. See, I believe that's one of the reasons why Bilgewater was so popular. The Bilgewater event had this. It was an event about Bilgewater, a place from their story. So by bringing out a map that is used in the story they just released, the lore was connected to the game, and that's why everyone remembered it. Maybe I'm just going in circles, but I feel like that won't be possible anymore. So, those are my thoughts. Odyssey was simply the best thing I have ever done in League of Legends, and now we won't get it anymore. What's worse, I feel awful for people who will never experience this. Because Odyssey brought a new life into what we already knew. And like it or not, even though people were forced to look for groups of other players, it brought the community together. But now I wanna know your opinion. Maybe this video was totally pointless, and you didn't get anything from it at all, but I really wanted to ventilate my thoughts. Events, and especially PvE events in League, were something I was always looking forward to. But now I know that this thing I was looking forward to was removed. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Star Guardians suddenly have less value to me. I saw them as these heroes who fought against the invasion. Now they are just characters. I wonder how the alternative universes will be affected by this. But that's enough from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I would love to know your opinions. And with that, let's just roll the outro. Hey, did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk about other League facts and stories? And did you know that we have need mugs and shirts too? The links to all of that will be below. And as always, thank you, come again.